Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, we'll tell you about the steps Republican senators are taking to confirm President Trump's Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch.
Then, a local university and high school go low-tech to build an outdoor classroom.
And hear how President Trump's proposed budget may impact a local health center.
And later, Meals on Wheels does a lot for the Rockbridge community, but workers worry about what they will do if they lose their funding. All that and more next on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Bryn McCarthy.
And I'm Kinsey Grant. Breaking this afternoon, President Donald Trump says that, quote, something should happen with regard to Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad in the wake of this week's chemical attack. U.S. officials believe Assad is at the root of the attack. Autopsies of Syrian victims from the recent assault in Syria's Idlib province show they were in fact subjected to chemical weapons. The United States says it hopes for a vote late Thursday on a resolution that would condemn the chemical attack in northern Syria that killed dozens of people on Tuesday. Russian President Vladimir Putin's spokesperson said that the country's support of Assad is not unconditional. He asked for a full investigation into the attack. The global chemical weapons watchdog says it has initiated contact with Syrian authorities as it investigates the suspected chemical attack earlier this week that killed more than 80 people. 2 Republican senators are calling on President Donald Trump to take out Syria's Air Force.
The president talked to me on the phone and said that he was going to consult with General McMaster and General Mattis and make a decision there. The president publicly has stated, and I agree with him, that this is appalling and outrageous what has happened. And Senator Graham and I have strongly recommended grounding his Air Force. Don't let those planes fly that are committing war crimes by dropping nerve gas on innocent men, women, and children. And the great failure of the Obama administration was saying they were going to do something about it and didn't.
Senator Lindsey Graham joined Senator John McCain in a statement that Assad has, quote, crossed a line and must pay for the attack.
The Senate has cleared the way for a Friday confirmation vote on President Donald Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court. On Thursday, the Senate voted 55-45 to successfully block Judge Neil Gorsuch, denying Republicans the 60 votes they needed to move forward. Republicans then voted to eliminate the 60-vote threshold, allowing them to proceed to the Friday vote with a simple majority. The change is dubbed the nuclear option because it is a last resort that will make it easier for the majority to confirm its Supreme Court nominees in the future. In 2013, then-majority Democrats made a similar move for lower court judges and executive branch nominees. Senator Chuck Schumer expressed his concern about today's action.
There will be less faith in the Supreme Court because it will be seen as a political body, an extension of our most divisive debates. And as a result, America's faith in the integrity of the court and the trust in the rule of law will suffer.
Democrats opposing Gorsuch say they believe he would favor corporations over workers and would be on the far right of the court. Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes, stepped aside this morning from the investigation into Russian meddling. Nunes has come under intense criticism for meeting secretly with White House officials. Recently, there have also been accusations filed against him with the Office of Congressional Ethics. Nunes says the charges are false and politically motivated, but he believes it is in the best interest of the committee to have GOP Congressman Mike Conway of Texas temporarily take charge of the investigation.
U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping have arrived at the Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida for their meeting today and tomorrow. Despite the relaxed setting, they have some tough issues to address that could make their talks very tense. CNN's Matt Rivers in Beijing and Jim Sciutto in Washington report.
I'm Matt Rivers in Beijing.
And I'm Jim Sciutto in Washington. U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping may be in a relaxed setting when they meet at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. But the issues on the table, very tense ones. North Korea, high on the agenda. President Trump wants China to help more in restraining North Korea's nuclear weapons program, but just this weekend said that if Beijing does not work to stop it, the U.S. will, telling the Financial Times, if China is not going to solve North Korea, we will.
But Jim, China sees things very differently. It is balking at further economic pressure on Pyongyang. Regime collapse is the last thing it wants. China says North Korea's fear of U.S. aggression is at the root of its nuclear arsenal. The U.S. and China don't see eye to eye on trade either. President Xi has been marketing himself as a champion of free trade and globalization. The view here is that though there is room for improvement, globalization is a win-win scenario, but a trade war between the world's two largest economies would make everyone lose.
Well, but Matt, Donald Trump has a very different point of view. China, by far the largest source of the U.S. $500 billion trade deficit, and President Trump has accused China of being responsible for stealing U.S. jobs and hurting the U.S. economy. Trump signed executive orders last week initiating a large-scale review of the causes of the U.S. trade deficits. China will be a focal point of that review. Regional security, a thorny issue between the U.S. and China. One big point of contention, the South China Sea, where China has built and is militarizing, in the view of the U.S., islands in international waters and along crucial shipping routes for the region and for global trade. Trump's Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, has said that China should be blocked from accessing those artificial islands it has built, setting the stage for a potential conflict.
China just doesn't buy that. Beijing insists that the South China Sea is historically Chinese and that it has the right to develop it and defend it as it sees fit. Disputes with the other regional claimants should be dealt with by the countries involved, and the U.S. has no business to meddle. Those are just some of the issues that Presidents Trump and Xi are likely to tackle when they meet at Mar-a-Lago.
This U.S.-China summit is crucial. What comes out of this two-day meeting could set the tone for U.S.-China relations for the next 4 years. For Matt Rivers in Beijing, I'm Jim Sciutto, CNN, Washington.
North Korea will be one of the most important conversations President Trump will have in his meeting with Chinese President Xi. Earlier this week, a North Korean missile test failed when the rocket spun out of control and plunged into the ocean. North Korea is pushing to upgrade its weapons systems to cope with what it calls U.S. hostility. President Trump spoke yesterday on the concern.
That's another responsibility we have, and that's called the country of North Korea. We have a big problem. We have somebody that is not doing the right thing, and that's going to be my responsibility. But I'll tell you, that responsibility could have been made a lot easier if it was handled years ago.
Recent satellite imagery shows possible preparations for another test at North Korea's main nuclear test site. Many weapons experts say the North Koreans could have a functioning nuclear-tipped missile capable of reaching the U.S. within a few years.
President Trump removed Chief Strategist Steve Bannon from the National Security Council yesterday. This action reverses Trump's controversial decision from January to give Bannon access to the group's high-level meetings. The new memorandum about the council's composition no longer lists the chief strategist as a member of the Principals Committee, a group of high-ranking officials who meet to discuss pressing national security priorities. Officials see this move as a positive one for National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster in the efforts to depoliticize the National Security Council.
Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe was in Lexington yesterday to speak at the Virginia Military Institute's 28th Annual Environment Virginia Symposium. Governor McAuliffe has vetoed more legislation than any past Virginia governor, with 111 vetoes, all of which have been sustained. Many of these vetoes have dealt with environmental issues, the same topic McAuliffe spoke about at VMI. He explained his initiatives to keep the Chesapeake Bay clean and free of pollution from water waste treatment facilities. McAuliffe also serves as chairman of the Chesapeake Executive Council and said that they recently met their target for the Bay for this year. However, the governor stated they will have no chance at meeting future targets if President Trump's proposed budget passes. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, find out how President Trump's revised budget could impact healthcare in Rockbridge County.
Don't be blown away by high wind speeds. Find out how long it's sticking around in your 5-day forecast.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
He's on his way. He doesn't even know that we're here. Is he okay? Please tell me he's okay. Laura. Okay, try to call him again. There's no signal. Try. Nothing's working. Well, just everything's down. This is so bad. He's out there by himself.
Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov.
One local healthcare provider has concerns about the future of its funding. Katrina Lewis has the story.
In rural Rockbridge County, it's difficult for residents to get the health care they need.
So many people struggle with access to care and affordable access to care.
The Community Health Needs Assessment designates Buena Vista, Lexington, and Rockbridge County as both low income and medically underserved. That means options are limited.
You do have to drive, because it's a smaller town.
The Rockbridge Area Health Center opened as a free clinic in 1992 to try to fill the gap. The clinic became a federally qualified health center in 2013.
We provide medical care, dental care, and behavioral health services.
And now, the health center could face a federal budget cut this fall if Congress fails to continue the Community Health Center Fund.
Our funding is due to be dramatically cut in September unless there's congressional action to restore it.
The health center uses federal grants to help pay for its exam rooms and building. For almost everything else, it relies on donations and fundraisers, like its annual Bull and Oyster Fest.
A big part of our funding comes from days like today, which is why it's so great to have such an amazing turnout, because we are a private nonprofit.
Last Saturday, the Bull and Oyster Fest raised over $15,000 for patient services. But workers at the health center hope the event inspires people to do more than contribute. They hope it encourages people to pay attention to what the health center does.
The most common comment was, "I had no idea that you did all of this."
Health Center CEO Suzanne Sheridan says raising awareness about community health centers will be the best way to ensure they get the funding they deserve.
We want to work with our legislators to show them and educate them about the work that health centers do.
The Rockbridge Area Health Center is working on becoming the primary care for more area residents. To learn more about community health centers or to find a center near you, visit the website for the National Association of Community Health Centers. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Katrina Lewis.
The Rockbridge Area Occupational Center is temporarily closed while it transitions to a new system. It will no longer operate under a sheltered workshop format. RAOC is working with the State Rehabilitative Services Department to instead provide supported employment services for adults with disabilities. Job coaches will help clients find employment in the Rockbridge community and adjust to their new positions. RAOC is also renovating its building to open a day services program for other clients. The center plans to reopen in early July. Well, now that it's April, it feels like we are finally in spring. Can we expect this warm weather to stick around?
Tomorrow we might have a chance of snow, but other than that, it's going to be sunny after that. Let's take a look at our live shot over Woods Creek and Hogback Mountain. And also, so for today's weather, we had a high of 60 and a low of 36. The barometer is reading 29.34 inches of mercury. We have high wind speeds at 13 miles per hour, but gusts up to 33 miles per hour. And additionally, we have 58% humidity. Let's take a look at our area weather. It's a little warmer up in Charlottesville with a high of 65. A little colder down in Covington with 45, and Roanoke, it's raining and 55 degrees. For Lexington, it's partially sunny with 58 degrees, and we did see a little bit of hail earlier. So it has been a crazy weather day here in the area. Let's take a look at our radar screen. It looks like the movement is kind of staying over Rockbridge County, but it will be out soon. So let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, we have a high of 52 and a low of 30 with rain and a chance of snow in the morning. On Saturday, we have sun and a high of 60 and a low of 34. On Sunday, it's heating up a little bit with a high of 70 and a low of 46. Sunny again on Monday with a high of 78 and a low of 51, and heating up even more on Tuesday with a high of 80 and a low of 53 and sunny. That is all for your 5-day forecast. Kinsey and Bryn, back to you.
Attorney General Mark Herring is honoring people who have dedicated their careers to helping victims of crime across Virginia. Herring is holding the first Unsung Heroes Award ceremony today at his office in Richmond. Herring said the work by the people being recognized often goes unacknowledged.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, Meals on Wheels serves people every day in Rockbridge County, but President Trump's proposed budget is threatening their funding.
And later, First Lady Melania Trump shows an interest in young girls' education in a recent trip to Jordan.
If you store your guns properly, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
No more pencils, no more books, no more teachers, dirty looks.
School's out for summer.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Comedy king Don Rickles suffered kidney failure and died this morning. For more than half a century, Rickles headlined casinos and nightclubs across the country and livened up late-night talk shows. Rickles patented a confrontational style that many stand-up performers still try to emulate. No one was exempt from Rickles' insults. Despite his crass jokes, he was one of the most beloved people in show business. Rickles died this morning in his home and would have been 91 on May 8th. Anti-poverty programs could face budget cuts under the Trump administration's pending budget proposal, but for now, the local Meals on Wheels program is undeterred. Faith Isbell has the story.
For some, Meals on Wheels is more than just a meal. It is a source of comfort and companionship. 90-year-old Walter Coleman has used the program for 2 years.
I've made more friends by having them than I've ever had.
Coleman is one of nearly 60 people served daily by the local Meals on Wheels. The program provides homebound seniors in the area with nutritious meals.
Because they give me things that I wouldn't ordinarily eat, you know. It's better for me.
Bridget Worth is the Meals on Wheels coordinator at Maury River Senior Center. The local program has been around for 12 years. Worth said that without the program, most of the seniors would end up in nursing homes.
It's not just the meal, it's the visit. It's a safety check for them. It's companionship for them. It gives them their independence.
About 30 volunteers deliver meals each afternoon, Monday through Friday. Lucy Farabee volunteers once a week. She delivers 12 to 15 meals on her route.
They're all alone and wanting to stay at home. They don't want to go into a facility.
Some volunteers, like Farabee, fear Congress will approve the Trump administration's proposed cuts to programs like Meals on Wheels.
Sometimes I think people that never had problems don't know how the other side of the world is.
But Worth isn't worried.
We would find a way. Some way or another, Meals on Wheels would continue.
Until Congress votes on the proposed budget, the local Meals on Wheels continues to serve its seniors. The local program is discussing the possibility of delivering meals on the weekends. I'm Faith Isbell with the Rockbridge Report.
Pepsi is pulling an ad after being criticized on social media for making light of social justice protests. The ad shows reality TV star Kendall Jenner leaving a photo shoot to join a crowd of protesters. Jenner takes off a blonde wig and then hands a can of Pepsi to a nearby police officer. The protesters begin to cheer as the officer takes a sip of the Pepsi. Some social media users claimed the ad appropriated the Black Lives Matter movement. Others described it as, quote, tone deaf. Pepsi initially stood by the ad, but the company apologized yesterday when announcing it was pulling the ad. Angel Poole broke ground for women when she became the first female law enforcement officer among many departments in the Rockbridge area. Even after she opened the door, the number of female officers and deputies remains very low. The Rockbridge County Sheriff's Office has one female deputy and the Buena Vista Police Department has one administrative officer. Angel Poole retired from her position at the Sheriff's Office in December. She's now the town sergeant in Glasgow. Learn more about female officers in our story on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
First Lady Melania Trump is showing her interest in empowering women and girls. The First Lady toured a girls-only charter school in Washington yesterday with Queen Rania of Jordan. The Queen is recognized as an advocate for education and empowerment in Jordan. U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos joined them. The three attended a roundtable conversation with several school officials, parents, and students. The visit to the charter school is highlighted by DeVos's advocacy, giving parents with children in the public school system the option of sending them to charter, private, or other schools. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the Masters tournament, including which crowd favorite will not be playing.
And later, VMI students helped build an outdoor classroom for Perry McClure the old-fashioned way.
Can't sing, and Tommy can't dance, so we're gonna put some ants in their pants. Aww.
Kids will spend 22 minutes watching us, the super duper party troopers, sing about ants in their pants.
Isn't that funny? Ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants, they've got ants in their pants.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time. Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Panera Bread is being acquired by Europe's JAB holding company for more than $7 billion. This is the second largest restaurant deal made in North America in at least decades. JAB holds controlling interest in several coffee companies and Krispy Kreme. Panera founder and CEO Ron Shaich said a deal with JAB will allow the company to focus on growth rather than appeasing shareholders. Panera shares are up 50% this year. On Wednesday, the company said that sales rose 5.3% in the first quarter, outperforming the broader restaurant industry. JAB will pay $315 per Panera share. That's a 14.5% premium to the company's Tuesday closing price of $274. The Panera deal is expected to close in the third quarter. It still needs the approval of Panera shareholders.
So Emma, golf season is fully upon us, but there was some sad, unexpected news for the golf community. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Sure, Bryn. Yesterday's rainy weather postponed some golf festivities, but today the Masters is in full swing. Day one of the Masters kicked off with a rocky start for the world's #1 ranked golfer. After a sudden back injury, Dustin Johnson has opted out of the first major championship of the year. Late yesterday afternoon, Johnson slipped and took what his agent described as a serious fall down the stairs of his rented home. The golf superstar bowed out of the tournament just moments before he was set to tee off. Spring has sprung, and so has baseball season, but it's not all sunshine for the Yankees. Yankees top pitching prospect James Kaprielian was placed on the minor league disabled list due to pain in his right elbow. Kaprielian was taken with the 16th overall pick in 2015. He will undergo an MRI. And a diversity report released by the Institute for Diversity and Ethics in Sport shows a decline in African American women hired in college sports. The report gave college sports a C+ for racial hiring, marking a decline from 2016's 83-point score. In local sports, the VMI Cadets baseball team added another conference win to their record Wednesday, beating Old Dominion by a score of 17-14. Meanwhile, over at Washington and Lee, the Generals baseball team clutched a win against #1 ranked Shenandoah yesterday, 3-1. At SVU, the Knights fell to Christopher Newport 15-0. The Knights baseball team is 2-11 in conference play. The Generals also grabbed a win on the lacrosse turf this week. The men's team grabbed a conference win against Bridgewater yesterday afternoon, 17-9. And in high school sports, the Perry McClure Fighting Blues baseball team won a close one in Wednesday's home non-conference game against James River by a score of 9-8. The Rockbridge County Wildcats Ball Club snatched a more sizable win against Northside High on Wednesday, taking their home win with a score of 13-5. Meanwhile, the Rockbridge County softball squad is looking to add another win to their 3-1 season. The Wildcats are gearing up for their 5 o'clock game against William Fleming High in Roanoke as we speak. Back to you, Brennan Kinsey.
Engineering students at Virginia Military Institute and several volunteers have gone old school to build an outdoor classroom for Perry McClure High School. Caroline Blackman reports on the work that keeps alive the timber frame tradition.
Perry McClure students may get to take science or art classes outside before the end of the school year. The Virginia Military Institute designed and built an outdoor pavilion that is made entirely of wood. The structure is VMI's latest timber frame project that brings volunteers and students from around the country together.
Well, it gives them space to do what it is they want to outdoors, and I don't know about you, but if any chance I could get out of the classroom when I was a kid was great.
Seth Hinton was one of 3 VMI students who designed the classroom. He said he met with Perry McClure to make sure his design fit its needs.
Perry McClure essentially wanted an outdoor classroom, something that we can use so the kids can actually learn outside. We can interact the classroom in an outdoor atmosphere on a, like I said, a 24 by 48 footprint.
Over 6 days, the workers gathered at VMI engineering teacher Greg Mullen's house about 30 minutes from the high school. They talked about how to build the pavilion. They first measured each piece of wood according to VMI's design. Then, they cut and sanded each piece. The beams slide together without the need for nails, screws, or anything else.
They don't always fit the way they're supposed to the first time.
The volunteers conducted a test fit of the wood at Mullen's house so they could fix mistakes before going to Perry McClure.
We're taking it slow, we're making sure everything looks good.
Volunteers placed all the pieces on a trailer and moved them to the high school by Tuesday afternoon.
You share in a heritage that traditional construction doesn't have. It's thousands of years old, and it's still done primarily the way it was done then.
Mullen has done the timber frame projects for 21 years.
The projects are, they're about a building, but they're really about community.
Students from other schools volunteer too. Jose Jimenez is a sophomore from the American College of Building Arts in South Carolina. He likes timber framing because of its history and beauty.
You can actually see the structure itself It's a good way to really get an idea of how a house is put together.
Mullins said timber frame buildings are prettier than traditional ones. Local timber framer Bob Smith said workers can use fewer resources. They also last longer.
More and more I see people who are disconnected from the real world. They don't put their hands on wood, they don't put their hands in the dirt, and this is a way to connect them back to something real.
More than 150 people pitched in to build the pavilion. VMI is already exploring ideas for next year's project. I'm Caroline Blackman with the Rockbridge Report.
That's it for our final broadcast of the semester.
And visit our website at any time at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. From all of us here at the Rockbridge Report, thank you for watching and see you all in the fall.